again, everyone. The Philadelphia Fusion just got the 3-1 victory to start off the day. And with that, they have locked in an overall playoff spot. Well, they already had it locked in, but they didn't get the 4-0, which means the Dallas Fuel will get that stage playoff spot. So Dallas Fuel fans, you gotta be happy. I actually said it on Twitter, if you're a Dallas Fuel fan, you should vote Jester in for the All-Star game because he clutched it out there for you, holding that payload down. Anyways, moving on to our next game, we have the Shanghai Dragons getting... Wow. Such a warm reception right there. The Shanghai Dragons doing battle against the San Francisco Shock. Now, as you guys all know, all right, I'm glad we got some Shock fans in the house too. As you guys all know, this is the final regular season day, so this is the last opportunity the Shanghai Dragons have to get a W under their belt. And they have to do it against a much improved San Francisco Shock team that's actually, I feel, going to be a serious threat next season if they keep this same lineup together. So, yo, Blizzard Arena, y'all ready to get this thing going? Yeah? Yeah? All right, well, let's go ahead and get right into the action with the crew at the desk.
Thank you so much, Malik. Yes, I'm your host, Golden Boy, alongside with Reinforce and Bren as we get ready for this next matchup. Now, here's the thing. We have to ask one more time, as we've been saying it so many times. Is today the day? Because if today is not the day, it will actually be 0-40 for the Shanghai Dragons, which is like crazy. Oof. Oof. That is
Owie,
oof,
my bones.
Oof with a capital O.
That's the herder one.
Goodness gracious me, man. Say yes.
I gotta say, Golden Boy, like this team right now, you know, I've always been the biggest supporters of them, of the Shanghai Dragons.
Okay.
I don't beat around the bush when it comes to that. I love the Shanghai Dragons. Is today gonna be the day? You know, maybe if this guy has something to say about it, it will not be. Krusty, this coach coming in, you know, he's always going to be there for them, you know, and he's sent this team in this upward direction. This is going to be super hard for the Shanghai Dragons. That's all I'm saying.
What is with your infatuation with Krusty?
Don't worry about it. He's standing in front of the pearly gates, you know, he's leading his team to victory, you know, there's the stairways there. Krusty's just guiding them slowly but surely.
Oh, dear. Okay, well, so Reinforce, let's talk about this. If you know, there's some blessings to be passed around, who will that be for Shanghai?
We talk a lot about Dia, but he didn't turn up when it needed against the Florida Mayhem. And so I'm going with Ado. Ado has to turn up for the Shanghai Dragons today. On his Genji, I mean, he's insane at this hero, right? I think he has some of the most insane mechanics when it comes to the Genji in the entire league. And he's trying to carry Shanghai Dragons on his back. He turns up when he needs to. I mean, the Korean blood in him just tries to carry the game. And we see him time and time again clutch it out and try to get Shanghai Dragons their first final win. He needs to turn up today for the not the San Francisco Shock. If they want to beat the San Francisco Shock.
If they want to beat them,
that is. Because this guy is nutty.
He is a nuts player, Johnny. He really is. And I'm so glad you mentioned him because he like comes in with these clutch plays. He runs a lot of Genji in the meta, which is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really see people running it as often as maybe I'd like, you know, the branch coming in.
And given that they're 0-39, the fact that he's above the league average on most stats.
Yes.
That just tells you how insane his Genji is.
No, I mean, his Genji play has been very, very impactful, without a doubt. But now let's look at the San Francisco Shock. What are their chances here of being able to close this out, put Shanghai at that 0-40?
I mean, let's be honest. San Francisco are the favorites because you can't be the favorite if you're 0-39. So San Francisco Shock, they are the favorites to win this game. But they don't handle pressure very well. Boy, we've seen it time and time again this season. When it comes down to it, they just can't cap point A with 4 minutes remaining. It just doesn't happen. It gets chaotic, and they just can't handle it. So maybe today, the San Francisco Shock will choke when it really matters. This is their first real important matchup, you know. They can't be the team to fall to the Shanghai Dragons. So are they going to fall under the pressure and be that team? That is a big question mark for me, really.
They're shaking their heads right now behind the camera.
They are shaking their heads.
They're looking at us. They're shaking their heads.
I think Shanghai Dragons, they have a chance to redeem themselves because they were so close against the Florida Mayhem. And in my mind, Florida Mayhem, I mean, they were the team that usually always choked. So I'm going to reuse an old sign from stage 1, Monte Cristo. So it used to be the Florida Mayhem.
That's
but then in map 5, I mean, it was the Shanghai Dragons. Yeah,
boo him. Yeah. Boo that man.
But this is the chance for the Shanghai Dragons to redeem themselves. Maybe the San Francisco Shock will end the season as the universal choke sign.
Really?
Maybe. I can see it happening. Be wary of yourself.
So,
I see them back there. Be wary.
So who's your prediction?
Oh, I'm not predicting anybody. Or what? No, I'm not gonna predict anybody.
You cannot play us like that, though, Johnny. You have to make a prediction at least. Come on, mate. Just make your mark.
No, I'm not gonna predict. No.
Please make a prediction.
No, I'm not predicting.
What are you doing? Where are you going,
We
Johnny?
have to finish
Johnny,
the segment.
where are you going? We're not done yet, mate.
I can barely talk.
I don't believe this. I can't believe this guy. The audacity of it.
It's like your boy's over here with a sore throat, and he walks away. Okay, Bran, I know who you're going to pick, so let's throw the graphic up.
You know, in the past, you know, I've always, you know, I've been the one person, the one shining light for the Shanghai Dragons to really get behind. And you know what? It might be pretty obvious now. I got Krusty on my chest. You know, I'm preaching the church of Krusty. You know, may he bless San Francisco Shock with his presence.
Who are you predicting?
Who am I predicting, Golden Boy? You know it's going to be the Dragons for this one. It's coming at it. I'm taking a page out of Monte Cristo's book. You know they're going to be winning this one. 1-39. Let's make it happen. Jump into the game, Golden Boy. Please, let's get these players out.
What a swerve. What a swerve. All right, well, time to bring out your first team. I don't know what happened here, but for now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage one last time, the Shanghai Dragons. This team has developed quite a fan base here at the Blizzard Arena, but the question is, can they get one win to avoid the sweep season?
They've improved, right? I'm back.
Back to do his job. Thank you.
I'm actually hiding in spirit in the arena. No one can see me. I'm not on the broadcast. Yep. Dia has to turn up. Dia is in the starting lineup. We know his Widowmaker is sick. Now, I did say that Dia doesn't handle the pressure very well, but that means that there's no real pressure in map 1, right? You know?
Well, here's the crazy thing about Dia. Here's the crazy thing about Dia, Johnny, is the fact that we know that he can perform on a level with other top Widowmaker players, and we just, it seems when they need him in the moment, you know, when they need that clutchness, he always seems to fall short. So I mean, today is the day for him to prove himself on the big stage. You know, help his team get that one win, make it possible for them.
Yeah, make it possible for them. Now he needs some assistance, though. And there you go. There you go.
Hit him with that, John.
The fans.
Tell me what kind of assistance they need.
Well, they need space. And who creates space in this game? The tanks. Fearless and Giguri needs to turn up for the Shanghai Dragons. Create the space for Dia. Create the space for Ado. And then maybe you're good if they pop up.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very difficult for the Dragons, without a doubt, because their opponents will not make it easy at all. So let's go ahead and bring them out to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the San Francisco Shock. The Shock also have a fair amount of supporters here today in the Blizzard Arena. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, they didn't qualify for stage playoffs. They didn't qualify for the overall playoffs. And they're just now playing so that they aren't the team to get beat by the Shanghai Dragons.
I mean, that's what they're working towards. You know, when I ripped off the shirt and revealed Krusty, you know, they were giggling, they were laughing. As soon as I ripped off the shirt and revealed the Shanghai Dragons jersey, they were upset. They were livid. They were turning their faces away at me. They were looking at me in disgust. So, I mean, they're angry, you know. I fired them up. You know, every single time I predict the Shanghai Dragons to win as well, the other team that they're playing against, it fires them up. I feel like I'm cursed for this thing.
Yeah, but these are North American players. When you get tilted, you know, sometimes you don't play as good, you know. Effect just turn it on from the Dallas Fuel, but I mean, if you tilt, you gotta keep calm.
The worst kind of players is what you've just made a claim as.
You gotta keep calm, collected, you know, perform well. So we'll see how they perform under pressure, as we said. I mean, for them, if they lose map 1, how are you feeling if you're San Francisco?
I mean, yeah, sure, why not? And we are going to Blizzard World as well as a map where Shanghai haven't been looking too badly on it. In the Florida game in particular, I distinctly remember that one because that was so close between those two teams, and if they just won that, they would have won the series, would have got their first win. So now, seeing how this game goes, Golden Boy, I'm excited to get into it.
I'm excited as well. Some may say that there's nothing on the line, but I will disagree. Everything is on the line, and I'm officially deeming this matchup the Super Mega Overwatch Bowl for all the marbles. For all the marbles, that's right. So who better to call the Super Mega Overwatch Bowl than Uber and Mr. X?
Hey, absolutely. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the Super Mega Overwatch Ball for all the marbles. Now, Brent, you've done this to me again, and I used to be disappointed in you, but now that my expectations for you are lower than your pick rate on the desk. I'm just not upset anymore. I just kind of know what I'm going to get now.
I actually felt super bad. I was standing there with the shock and we're like watching it, and like Super's like, oh, that's Krusty, like he's picking us, and like he turned and saw my face, and he's like, oh, is he gonna do something else? I was like, just wait, and it was like, yeah. And then he saw the reveal, and he was like, oh, come on. They took it good there. They were laughing.
And like Bren was saying, like every time I predict Shanghai to win, you know, it fires up the other team. Every time you predict Shanghai to win, you're wrong.
Dude, I'll never forget the look on Effect's face when they picked the Dragons.
That was amazing. I mean, yeah, you see when Mooma got predicted again the other day, he was fuming. So it definitely does have an effect. But let's now focus a little bit more on the game. Matt, last time we caught these guys, of course, it was that all-important match against the Florida Mayhem. That, you know, the Dragons pulled up short on. Dia went missing over those last couple of maps. It was mentioned on the desk. He'll need space, but he'll also need to pop off on Blizzard World. We're definitely going to need to see his Widowmaker make a big impact.
And I think throughout this series, Mitch, with the San Francisco Shock on defense first, I think this actually adds a ton more pressure to the Dragons because San Francisco is actually pretty good on their defense. When we see them struggle, it's on their offensive sides. When they're on defense, they look like a very strong team. They can come out on a few of these maps and have a really strong, like, full hold, or, you know, stop the Dragons from even advancing the payload very far after completing the first objective, which could be difficult for them to get over on the defensive side.
No, we saw the Dragons play the Mayhem very close on this particular map. We saw quite a few different looks from them. Otto, of course, a very versatile player. It's time to kick this one off, ladies and gentlemen. The Shanghai Dragons, their final game of the regular season, their chance for one shot at glory is all that remains for them here in the regular season. After that, a big break. I'll be on the attacking side here. So I have Ardo on the Brigitte here. Yep. Dion on the Zaya, so playing very tanky approach to this first point, Matt.
Yeah, triple tank, triple support. We're gonna have Dia playing Zarya running around the corner here. He's gonna use those bubbles on a Fearless. Fearless gets chunked down there by Sinatra on the high ground. They make it to the point. How do they sustain? How do they stay on through this? We have seen Freefield have some miscues on the Zenyatta, but when we've seen him on Moira, it seems a little bit more comfortable.
I feel if San Francisco allows Shanghai to take these kind of pit stops and get that health back, Matt, they can just bully their way onto the point here. You can see Dia looking pretty charged up. Zarya Barriers are the best representation of Newton's first law, Matt. And you can see he's just going ham now. Mock just gets out of range, but Shanghai are already hustling and bustling. And they'll have themselves this first point in a couple of seconds.
Oh yeah, easy first take here for the Dragons. Dia and Gigery do a nice job. They push the supports all the way back. No opportunity to heal anybody up on the point. Now, something we should also note from San Francisco, you have Nevix in the lineup today. They've been playing Treoban for a lot of stage 4. And now Architect in as well, which we've seen less Architect as of late. You see, you know, a lot of Baby Bay, and even we see Dante now in the last few games as well.
Maybe, I guess they're looking for maybe just a cleaner Widow battle win. But there's no Widow battle right now. It's Zarya for Dia, and it's a Riptide for Sinatra now. And all of Shanghai have already completely disengaged from this. Look how careful they're being. Now, they still cop a casualty, yes, and he can't be resurrected. Fearless, there's no mercy for that one, but they'll be back in a moment.
And that's massive, just forcing them to back up that far and then being able to get one kill. I mean,
the tempo swing is big.
It's a huge tempo swing. Look at how far the payload's going to go back. It allows San Francisco to push up, get that prime real estate at the front. Moth will actually play Ana here, so Ana is kind of the counter, so to speak, to all of these tanks in supports, because it's all AoE healing, right? You stay close together, you get that biotic grenade to come down. Can't get anything.
Coalescence coming through, and they've already lost Sinatra with the shock. They're a man down. And now Fearless would love to put this Earthshadow to good use, but San Francisco are playing a composition that would rather keep them at arm's length. Sinatra switching over towards Zarya might indicate a switch of mindset, but right now they can't do too much about it. They're still waiting for reinforcements. Super under the bridge, Nevix over it. Super's just trying to make sure he doesn't get isolated here. Stunned up, taken down. He doesn't want that at all. Earthshadow comes in. Fearless gets a big knock. A lot of the Dragons are also on their backsides. We see Gigery getting that self-destruct in. Sinatra and Super recorded inside a Graviton Surge. A lot of damage they've taken. And Fearless cuts through 2 of them. Sinatra down. Architect finds Freefield, but there's not enough presence for the shock on this payload at all. And Shanghai will get it to point B.
No, as Architect goes on the flank. You know, as a Widowmaker here, there's not a lot of low HP targets that you can just take out in one shot. I mean, you're really looking at the supports, but You know how difficult it is to hit altering or free field? I know with Moira and Lucio, both of those heroes, very difficult to hit, like very fast, kind of slippery.
Now, I like the Pharah here from Architect.
Pharah's a good pick.
It's not guaranteed to work, Matt. A lot of that damage can easily be converted into charge for Dia and subsequent gravitons as a result. So Architect needs to be pretty precise and try and find some big early picks here.
And you know, you would say like in this type of composition, right? Like, you know, maybe you run like Pharah with like Mercy in the Ana, right? Get the biotic grenades out, but then you don't have that big ultimate to get you out of the graviton surge that's going to come down from Dia. So you need the Zen to stay in the game. You want Moira as well. Moth with the 2 biotic grenades, I've seen him throw is connected with like 2 players on each one, but they haven't been able to capitalize. So the payload just rolled on through. The Shock have not put any defensive effort.
And this is my concern about the Pharah. It's not put enough pressure on the Dragons to slow them down or to force them to take a pit stop, be healing or anything like that. The rest of the Shock have just crumbled now under the pressure of the Shanghai Dragons. This Graviton might buy them a couple moments, but they really don't get much out of it. Just Ardo going down. Dia very deep, understandably. He does fall. And now the Dragons will peel off. What do you think about I know that Dragons, look, I know they're playing Azaya. Would you rather see a Junkrat than perhaps Pharah, just to have a Riptire, which is maybe more safe than a Barrage?
Yeah, and I think Junkrat puts down just more consistent damage than the Pharah. Even though it's like, right, like if Pharah, you're feeding the Zarya a little bit, some charge, you know, you're not going to really be able to finish off that kill at range. Junkrat, you just keep spamming, right? Eventually, you're just going to chunk a few players down, break the Ryan shield, whatnot.
You know, Architect's hovering. You know what he's looking for.
Oh, yeah.
He's hoping to unload on these guys with a barrage. So he's getting close enough. There it is. It just crumbles. It was Sleepy to find the initial kill there. A lot of that damage from the barrage being defense matrixed away. Self-destruct being sent up, one being sent through. Sleepy and Sinatra knocked down. That's 2 for Geggery now. Earthshatter knocking down 3. But Ardo and Fearless are still looking pretty durable here on the point. They've been forced off the payload and now it's a 2v3. Moth off from the corner here on Altering going down. Managing to find the Lucio, but it's still not quite enough. Nevix now has to try and hold on for as long as he possibly can and stall on the Diva, but that's cut very short as well. Architect can't contest the payload on Pharah, but he can do damage, and he has to right now. The Shock really trying to close the door to the Dragons, but they are relentless.
Freefield's using a Coalescence, like almost like coming back around from the spawn of the corner. This will be another Earthshatter coming down from Fearless. He set up that big self-destruct from Geggery earlier with an Earthshatter, not able to get much with this one.
That is such an important transcendence from Sleepy, Matt. Otherwise, that Earthshatter would have resulted in 2 kills and would have allowed the Dragons to continue to force the Shock to stagger 1 by 1. Now the Shock have a chance to set up here, and they can play around this choke, which is where Pharah is going to be so effective. You can see that. Architect already has himself another barrage to go.
And Dia getting close to a Deadeye. So that's going to be the Earthshatter there from Super. Doesn't get much of anything. A grab comes through from Sinatra. That'll be the Rocket Barrage. Connects with 2 players. And they use it right as the rally comes through from Otto. So now we have some time go off of the clock here for the Dragons. See, I liked when they were running the Zarya with this comp. Like, I would rather see them run like Ryan Zarya than the
They're trying to counter the Shock's comp instead of just, I guess, playing to what they think is going to work best. To a degree, anyway.
So now Dia goes right back to Zarya.
Okay, so he does switch. I thought that McCree was an interesting choice considering how stuffy this area. Oh, that's dangerous! Ooh. Concussive Blast could put you over the edge here. The Dragons are trying to flank around, but Architect has given the Shock plenty of early warning about this, and they'll be ready to cut them off at the pass. This is about to get really messy. Young people maybe look away from the screen. Everyone just all together, and it's easy splash damage for Architect. Ardo will be lucky to get out of this one alive. His shield is now broken. Architect descending, looking for his prey, but he is pressured away by Freefield. A bite of grasp at least keeps Architect honest.
You mean at this point, if you are the Dragons, you could have even tried like, you know, dive against what the Shock are coming out with now, right?
I think that's been. I think Dragons have had a good dive.
Their best looks have been their dive and their tanky compositions. Remember, they were actually looking pretty decent on Hollywood a few stages back, and they were just running like triple tank and quad tank compositions. Because it doesn't take a ton of like coordination to get down, which is quite odd that they would have a good dive, which takes a high amount of coordination to get down as well.
Self-destruct, that needs to be big. Actually finds Sinatra, he's down. He was so close to a Graviton Surge as well, which Architect really needed to combo with that barrage. That's not going to be an option now. It is going to be an Earthshatter laid down by Fearless, but Super kept that shield up, a la the Gladiators. And Sleepy is going to get tinnitus from that one. Altering sends him packing with the right click Super down. And now it's just Nevix. Sinatra needs to move to the point very quickly. He'll have a grab in a few moments now. He must be charged up with all the damage that they're suffering right now, but he's down. That's the grab. Follow-up, is it self-destruct? Is it through the shield or not? No, Fearless gets the jockey back. A a meter or so, and that protects the rest of the Dragons. Otherwise, that would have been curtains for them. Knocked up is Super. He can't get to the payload, and he's going to get bounced around. The Dragons get home in overtime. But at least they got home at all.
I mean, look, they complete the map. That's great for the Dragons. It was a good defense by the Shock at the end there. Seems like they were caught off guard through the first 2 stages. Not really a good defensive stand whatsoever. They kind of get back on their feet there towards the end, and they're able to put something good together.
You could see, like, in all 3 stages of the map, the Shock were trying to utilize chokes quite heavily, right?
Yeah.
So the first stage, they didn't play on the point, they played on the high ground close to it. On that second stage, they really tried to allow the payload to either move quite close under the first bridge or play right up in that the first choke, just outside of the capture point. And then towards the end, we saw Architect really start to get going. They didn't or couldn't counter him, I suppose, is the issue. We saw Shanghai go for them in Creamat. It was short-lived, and Architect came out with 30% of his team's overall damage.
And going into the next round here, where Shanghai will be on defense, you take a look at the composition that they're running right now. So they're going to run triple support on D. They'll have Free Feel on Zen, Geggery on Brigitte, Altering on Mercy, and then they're going to run Widow, Junkrat, Orisa. I don't really love this comp from the standpoint that if they challenge the high ground, or even if they don't challenge the high ground, right? Let's say for argument's sake, San Francisco just runs around and like goes to the point. You can't stay on the high ground if you're the Dragons. You don't have a diva to go send back to the point that just contests it and whatnot. You pretty much have to give up the high ground right away altogether. And then
when they don't give up the high ground, you're going to get mashed.
Right. And then so if you give up the high ground, then you go back, right? There's nobody to appeal for the support. So you're really giving like Sinatra and Architect a great opportunity to push, you know, Altering and Free Feel all the way back to the choke. There'd be no help for them. At that point, it puts Geggery in a tough spot. If she leaves Fearless, he's dead. Right? If you leave the Orisa on the point alone, he's dead. If you don't leave him, your supports are going to die. So what do you do? It's a difficult comp to run.
Not as much mobility as the Diva composition would offer for their Dragons, and they put a lot of their eggs in that first pick basket with a Junkrat and a Widowmaker, man. If they let the Shock get on towards the point, like you mentioned, it's going to be very hard for them to take control of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Diva's great for defense matrix as well, right? They push Fearless out of position, right? Let's say he doesn't have the barrier on cooldown. You can use defense matrix until that next barrier can come up.
They're adamant about this high ground. Okay, now they're forced off of it, but they're split.
Down, yeah.
They're split for a little moment here. I think Altering, see, Altering doesn't make it back to the point. He and Geggery get split off, and that's 2 out of 3 of your supports down already.
And when Altering dies, there's nobody there to help him. The closest one is Geggery, but then she just gets chunked down by the remaining members. So it's kind of exactly what I was talking about. You just can't, without Diva in this setup, there's just not enough mobility to cover everywhere, especially against a dive setup.
It also doesn't help that on that high ground, some players walked off of the edge, while some Shanghai Dragons players opted to walk back around off the high ground. You split your team doing that, and both supports got intercepted. That's a decent pick from Dia. It doesn't really affect this in the grand scheme of things that much. It's outside of preventing Sinatra's Tracer from getting entrenched and getting back behind. It doesn't slow the Shock down, really.
So we'll see. If Dia starts getting a few picks, though, I expect San Francisco to have a response here. Architect will have a Dragon Blade, though. So
Architect definitely looks like a better Widow when he's not being playing against another Widow. I think Dia, well, I want to say he's more consistent, but after that Mayhem match, I really can't say that anymore. He definitely seems to be more solid, but that's the Dragon Blade. Solid steal, this one. 2 for Architect, and Geggery couldn't stop him. Sleepy was there to follow up. Dia lucky to avoid having that shot reflected back into him, and Ardo can't hang.
So the payload will continue to move here. So the Dragon Blade opens things up in a big way. So see what Shanghai has to work with. You know, probably 3 support ults here. You gotta get some use of them, but look, they left Free Feel alone. He's gonna have to use Transcendence maybe to just stay alive.
Decent opening. Dia trades his life to get Sinatra. It's going to be a Valkyrie now being used in this fight by Mock to try and keep them topped up a little bit more. Ardo's waiting for the recipient of his next pulse bomb to present it. That's a beautiful one, Mock. Trying to do the flyby. Ardo gets him with a big swat. And now it's Nevix and Super on the payload, and they can't win this fight. No. Nevix realizes he won't get out with his mech, so he needs to get aggressive and make sure they actually properly kill him.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 support ults invested there for Shanghai. I mean, that's almost like a difficult fight to lose, right? When you have that much healing on the point, right? Kind of pretty even in damage. So now we'll see some changes come in for the Shock. They'll have Architect play Widow when you'll have Sinatra switch over to Brigitte. So now you're going to have
Damn. You see Nevix's health just disappear?
Yeah, I mean, the only difference here is you're going to have Nevix playing Diva and Otto will be playing Tracer.
Oh, there it is.
It's a fairly easy pick to get, though.
I favor Dia in that Widow versus Widow, though.
You have to. I mean, he's been very strong over the last few games. I think we talked about it for a while, but like the DPS core, I don't think is the issue at Shanghai. I think Otto and Dia have both proven to be very strong players.
Architect had 30% of his team's damage at halftime. He actually still has about that, so he's still been producing solid outputs. Here's a flank from the Shock. You see they're trying to circle around the point, but Fearless is trying to get in between them here and sort of cut off the back and front lines. He's actually done this very well. He doesn't stop the Resurrect on towards Sleepy here, but now he's going to maybe try and find a kill. No, everyone's banded towards him. Still, you're happy with that, buys a lot of time, and that bought a lot of space for Dia, which was set on the desk. It's very important for the Dragons.
The Shock will have to wait. So Super and Sinatra were able to make it around, but they didn't have any kind of help, right? Fearless using Primal Rage, knocking all the others back. They're displacing them, not allowing them to push up the rest of the team. This next push is pretty big for the Shock. You're going to have a slight advantage in terms of support ults, right? And you're going to have your Self-Destruct and Primal Rage. You lose this next fight, you're in trouble, because you figure they invest some of these ultimates in, and then you're going to have all three of those support ultimates up for the Dragons.
Free field down, close to a Transcendence he was, albeit not quite there. Arno will try and do the same to Sleepy, but the Pulse Bomb this time doesn't actually find its mark. Last time he stuck a Mercy. This time, however, he's going to be a little bit disappointed. He's forced to run to the payload now, but with a Brigitte there, he's always going to get stunned up at one point or another. Point B captured by the Shock. They have 3 minutes and 20 remaining.
Yeah, now time, not Dia, it's going to be Fearless who goes on that long flank. There's Dia dying on the point, but Fearless goes in this long flank, and he's trying to take out Architect, right? He gets low, and he's just sitting in his own bubble like there's nobody alive that's going to be able to heal you. He's just kind of forced to jump in Architect. Architect's just getting pocketed. Not going to be able to kill the Widow doing it that way. As now you'll have the Dragons. They will play Ryan Zarya. They'll also keep Brigitte on. So you're going to have all three of these supports. You didn't get the Shock to invest any support ultimates in that last fight.
I don't mind this composition. It just doesn't answer Architect very well at all. All these flanks, right? Architect can take his time.
And you can't, like, close space with the composition that the Dragons are running, right?
Otto's down! Matt, that's all the damage there for the Shanghai Dragons. You see they're trying to go for a Resurrect, but in doing so, they lose their main tank. The Dragons can't catch a break right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is why teams play that Diva in this type of setup, right? This is why you play like a triple tank. You don't want to play the Widow.
Oh, it's so filthy! Oh, that's a kill steal if I've ever seen one, but Architect comes out with 3, and the Dragons are in tatters. They can't even get out of their spawn right now, and Sinatra's going to make sure that they get stunned or something similar. Super has a Primal Rage as well. A great way to corral the Dragons back inside their home and prevent them from really interacting on this point. He'll wait it out, though, until he absolutely needs it. Transcendence is a good time to go for the Primal Rage to make sure it's not as effective. And Altering's down. They lose their Mercy to a self-destruct by Nevix. On his return to the Overwatch League, Nevix making a big impact here. Earthshadow, no! Sinatra interrupts it. Fearless trying to find, I guess, the golden ticket to save the Dragons there. But he couldn't even use his ultimate. Interrupted, and he's lost it all.
And it's a smart switch from Architect off the spawn. Goes over to Pharah. No answer for the Pharah there. I think what you saw from Shanghai was just a lot of odd compositional choices there. Like, to play Brigitte Junkrat with the Ryan Zarya towards the end, like, what is your response to the Widow who's on the flank? And then even then, like, you can't close the gap with the Widow, right? So then when they play Pharah, you don't have a response for that either. It really puts you, like, in a very limited spot in what you can do.
And this is nothing new, seeing that Widowmaker go for those sort of big flanks. I think Fletter is a great example of someone who does it on this map especially. Yeah, you don't have an answer for a Widowmaker at all. You don't have a hit scan. You don't really have the mobility to catch her.
Yeah,
Junkrat just gets destroyed by her length.
You should, at that point, probably just go back to the triple tank, triple support lineup, right?
Do that.
And then the Diva can just chase around the Widow. If they bring in a Pharah, the Diva is pretty strong against Pharah.
I really dislike getting rid of Diva when Widowmaker is still
yeah.
Because then you've got literally Diva, to a degree, not by definition, but I guess as a collateral effect can deal with Widowmaker because she has the mobility and she's...
Just put pressure on her.
And she's stupidly good in a 1v1, right? So you can handle Widow, but not with that kind of composition. You're not going to stop her. And Architect comes out with 24 final blows, man.
Look, I mean...
24.
When he sees there's nothing to challenge him on the other side, that's how you're allowed to go on those flanks and not get punished for it.
Architect is close to a Fletter deadlift, by the way.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's if you get at least, I think, more than half of the kills of the rest of your team combined. So the Shock have 50 final blows, Architect has 24. But I mean, he's not having to carry them really. Well, to a degree he is, but he's also being allowed to go nuts by Shanghai, who maybe aren't respecting him, or...
He just reflects the shot right back at
Yeah, okay. You know, it's just another day at the office here for the Shock. Dia's brought back to life, and you can see the grenades raining in from on high, and Ardo was trying to stem the flow of Shock players meandering onto the point. But they're going to do that, and they're going to take the high ground because they have the mobility to do so. But now the Dragons have to sit in the corner where the Dubs cap.
But now you worry, though, because you don't have a resurrection for whether it be Freefeel or any of the other players on the Dragons. As the push comes in here from the Shock, doesn't look like it's going to work. The Shock probably going to have to back out of this. They do get Fearless weak, so maybe they want to try and challenge this. And now Architect's got a blade. Oh!
Ardo has just gone beast mode on this point. It's all been him. Every kill, Ardo. Stunning stuff from him, and he's definitely saved the Dragons. When you're a Junkrat and you're forced off the high ground, you lose that positional advantage. You're usually very limited because you can't be selective about where your grenades go and who you kill, but Ardo still manages to find 2 important picks at the start of the fight, and now the Shock only have 23 seconds left.
This may come down to, though, Mitch, is like, Freefeel may never get this Transcendence. Sleepy already has his. Oh, you lose Cloth as well.
He's getting them all. Ardo is going absolutely ham right now. He's looking to secure the draw for the Dragons in this first map, and it's looking good. Architect now trying to set up in some sort of way, but D's just going to get resurrected. Long-range kill from Architect, so credit where it's due. The Shock have a Pulse Bomb, they have a Transcendence. They've got to get to the point, they've got to use them now. But this Riptide could spell the end of their run. It's Architect down, but Ardo's traded out. 2 big DPSs, 2 impactful players have been removed from the fight before it even starts. Not much of a chance for a resurrect here, I'd say. His Fearless is getting chunked down. War of attrition, but he decides to go Primal Rage and shrug off the damage. Nevix finds Dia in the backline, though. Self-destruct claims the Widowmaker, and Ultron can't do anything about her. Right now, he's just trying to keep himself tethered to his players and keep them healed up. But Gegger's about to get DC'd as she goes for the self-destruct. It's enough warning for the Shock. They get away, and now Super finds 2. Both supports of that Primal Rage.
Sleepy has gone ham, though, in this last fight. He's able to pick up Fearless here as well. It's a perfectly timed Transcendence there as well, Mitch. Dia's coming back off the spawn here as Doomfist, but it'll be the Shock who take map number 1.
Ardo has got to be furious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had a very quiet sort of first half to the map. He got about 7 or 8 final blows there in those final moments. However, it will be the San Francisco Shock. It was quite the brawl. It was bloody. It was brutal. Both teams are bruised. But we'll be back for map 2 in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Another tough time as Shanghai comes back in again. They get a bit of revenge.
Wrecking them one after another.
San Francisco Shock crushing. Sinatra with the finishing damage. Looking for targets. Oh, the Dragons are holding. Oh, Dia!
And they're gonna get it done.
I think that's gonna be it for this one.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blizzard Arena on this, the final day of our regular season, if you don't count the playoffs. An auspicious occasion, of course.
It's gone so fast.
Right, well, you say that. But, you know, we were deep in stage 2, like week 3, like, oh man, there's a lot of games to play. But yes, we're almost out, we're almost done. There's still, of course, a lot more Overwatch fun to come after this.
Oh, yeah.
Playoffs are looming, obviously All-Star is a thing as well. All-Star voting, by the way, get that out of the way. Also, the MVP voting, hashtag T-Mobile MVP at Ubershouts, and then you can put the player. You think that should be it?
That's not how the vote
that's what I'm just telling what I'm told. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Matt, we had some concerns about Shanghai's team compositions a little bit. It wasn't mechanical, their issue felt, but compositionally, yes.
Yeah, I thought their strategy there was something that, you know, when you go against the Shock and you know they like to play a lot of dive, and then you see Architect in the lineup, you expect, you know, whether it's going to be like Genji, Pharah, Widowmaker, and they didn't put themselves in a good position composition-wise to challenge any of that play. Their best go was when they were running the tank triple support, and then once they switched off of that and they were running like a Rissa, Brigitte with the Widow junk, it just never really worked.
And we're not saying that it was a refusal to acknowledge that Architect was a problem from Shanghai. It was just an inability to maybe answer him. Architect had 29 final blows in one map for a total of 60 on the whole Shock. So almost half, almost that Fleta deadlift I mentioned beforehand, which is obviously a joke back to Fleta's time back on Flash Lux. So that's a huge performance. He wasn't stopped, he wasn't slowed down, and he allowed the Shock to edge out a win there.
And it's like the Dragons were so close to. Yeah. Like that's the one frustrating thing. It has to be for Shanghai. Is like in a lot of these maps that they've lost recently, earlier in the season, not so much. But recently though, they've been very competitive in all their games, very close. And you know, you speak to a lot of players, and they're like, man, this team, they look really strong in scrims, right? Like, and then it's just something about getting out on the stage.
I mean, we spoke to a lot of players saying that they expected Shanghai to get a win at this stage, at least. That hasn't happened yet. Maybe not at all. We'll have to see. Ado, the star for Shanghai the previous match. The first casualty is the Sinatra now. I guess the Dragons are getting some of their own medicine fed back to them. Oh, Sinatra! Oh, it's so filthy.
He had zero fear jumping down there and just putting down so much damage inside. It's like 1,700 damage here. Yeah, okay.
Put him in the meat grinder, off to the glue farm.
Well, they probably didn't expect him to just jump in. And that is such a risky play there from a Junkrat. And,
that is a very Sinatra kind of play.
So he's already got a tire. This next fight's pretty much dead and dusted.
Yep. Time to burn some rubber and ram it down their throats. Doesn't get any kills though. Now, Ultra and Geggery D are all half health, but that's stuff you can heal up with this kind of composition. They've got tons of healing. So Architect now, again, they've got nothing to really answer Architect except for Geggery on that D.Va, so we'll have to see if she can be spared to go and deal with him. But Architect now playing a very wide out angle. He needs to get some picks early in this fight, otherwise the Dragons will start to solidify their control of the point. Positionally, the Dragons are in great shape. Yeah. See, even Sleepy's playing off on the corner. He doesn't want to get involved. Sleepy's flanking, but he's going for the Transcendence. Okay, I thought it was a sideshow move. Now we're going to have the Riptide come in over the top. He's not looking for Fearless. He's looking for them. Freak Feel and Fearless are down.
Yeah, and they use the Transcendence to just push them a little bit further back out of position off of the point. And now we're going to have a...
Sinatra has 45% of his team's damage.
Well, after the first... It's,
hey, the slip and slide.
Woo! Architect doesn't even like Geggery to jump off the side.
It's fun, guys.
Yeah, Sinatra, I was going to bring that up after the first fight. Just like, it was kind of like funny, like it's such a large chunk of percentage of team damage, but... You look, they're not going to deal with him in terms of, you know, getting him out of these fights. He's going to build it to a Riptire, every single one. 40 seconds on the Riptire charge time right now. Dia does have a Grav. You don't have a ton to, you know, partner with it outside of the damage that comes from Otto and Fearless. So, see how they use it.
It comes down to whether Sinatra can really get good value damage here on them. It looks like the Shock, for the most part, are sort of having to fight on the point. The Dragons have already approached it with taking minimal damage. Look at the health bars up the top there. In all fairness, the Shock are holding up fairly well in the heat themselves, but there's a Graviton It's coming here for Dia. Laser into the shield, Moss and Deep Travel. Nemec probably goes down to the self-destruct himself. He's trying to scoot away, but he gets desuited either way. Sinatra in with a rip tire, only 1 kill. He goes down to Gregory, who went hunting, and Nevix is exsanguinated on the point. Drained of all his humors. And Sleepy's probably not laughing about that one either.
And this is the composition that the Dragons have looked the best. Let's see what they do. Do they change it up here? No. Looks like they're gonna continue rolling with this.
Do you like this for second point?
Yeah, look, I mean, you have the rally. There's a lot of high ground here on the second point that the other team you can't really contest outside of Gregory. But you do have a ton of HP. So if you don't get chunked down, they have to come down to challenge you. See, right here, they can almost push Super out. Like, why just play in front of the shield? Yeah, just get aggressive on him and just push him out. Make the supports come down to bring Super back up.
With the Shock are playing an Ana Widowmaker setup, so they only have, what, 3 players who actually want to be on the point? Maybe 2 at that. They have not a lot of presence on the ground here, but it doesn't matter if Architect is raining in damage like that. Look where he's positioned, by the way. Altering is trying to stop him right now. They send a Lucio to try and deal with the Widowmaker, which is never a great idea. Ado realizes it's time to get out and free feel again. His advice to retreat.
So let's see what else they change. It'll be Fearless who plays Winston. D is going to play Widowmaker.
Can we see a support switch here? That's my question.
You kind of have to. If you're gonna, if you're gonna play Widow, you have to play Mercy. If you're gonna play Mercy, you may as well play Zen. So
and then boosts. So, okay. Sinatra, no more Junkrat hijinks. Now it's the Brigitte. So again, San Francisco playing a very tanky composition around Architect as that main damage dealer. Now, Architect is going to be a little bit more of an endangered species, but Dia just gets turned into chutney in the corner. Wasn't getting away with that one. Again, he may not have, I guess, foreseen the changes in the Shock's composition as well. I believe they might have still been playing with a...
They were playing with a Narissa,
so he probably thinks he can get away with that, but
still, his teammates only see the Widow on the other side. Like, there's no call, like... Hey, don't go over there by yourself. There's
well, maybe there was
people over there.
Maybe it was in a different language.
Okay. So now the Dragons will move on to the point. Let's see what Fearless decides to do. Just kind of poking down Super here a little bit. Super will go back.
Probably just trying to get into the corner so he has a chance to dive on a backline of... No, he's stranded now on the point. He has to get out quickly.
So if they're not going to win the Widowmaker battle with Dia taking Architect out in the back, they at least have to jump him or make a difference. We've seen teams, right? You can run like Tracer here with the Tracer Widow and have Tracer just kind of harass the Widow in the back line.
Can you choose to not play Widowmaker and still have a decent chance of winning? Like, is it all...
Nice pick on Freefield.
All right, we'd like to see a bit of that from your boy Freefield. I guess I'll get back to my question in a sec. We'll get another fight here, but I'm curious. Sleepy just stepping back a little bit now. He has the Transcendence. Zen now does pretty much stay inside their spawn on this map. It's close by, and they're so vulnerable. Nevis gets taken down pretty early, but Freefield and Dia at the price, the toll that the Shock extracts there for the Shanghai Dragons to make progress onto the point. So if you can't win the Widowmaker battle, is it worth just switching off?
Well, so here's the thing. I think you really don't know, like, if you can win that Widowmaker battle, and I think the Widowmaker is still worth having on offense. I think you just need to have, whether it be Gregory, Fearless, and then either of those tanks plus Otto, go put pressure onto Architect in the back. Because what does that do? Moth then has to go back. Then Sleepy's probably back there as well. Now you've pulled 2 supports back there, and you've pushed Architect out of position. Yep. That allows your Widowmaker then to just start putting damage on tanks, right? You start getting on the point. Then it forces maybe the Zenyatta out of position. So I think, like, right here, when Fearless is taking this position on the point, it's not helping Dia at all. Like, this is still allowing Architect to play in the spawn.
This is such an impressive way to play for Dia. He's trying to just peek around the pole.
And you're not going to be able to really get a great shot like that, right? So it allows the supports on San Francisco to stay safe, and it allows their Widowmaker to be effective.
Oh, Nevix didn't quite get away with that one. Looks like he's blasting off again. But Ultra Ring has been removed from the fight. Super gives up his life for that, but you can see Otto looking worse for wear. The issue for the Shock is that they've got a Zenyatta and a Mercy. No protection for them. It looks like the Dragons might finally have made the approach that was going to result in them getting control of the point, but we see the switch. Architect comes out on Tracer now. A lot of mobility, and Sleepy's Transcendence was very timely, to say the least. 44 seconds remain in the round, and the Dragons have only, well, they've got 1 more third of capture progress to go.
Yeah, they do have a Transcendence. So Altering did switch over to Lucio, just trying to make it back. Now go back to Mercy here, but now they did put a decent amount of pressure on the Shock. They do have the 1 major support ultimate up. We have seen Freefield use some Transcendences that are slightly questionable. Let's see if he can get a good use of it here.
Yep.
Some players on the point. Even if they want to use a Transcendence to just push all the way to the back, right? I wouldn't mind that.
I guess that Sleepy doesn't have one, so you can use it that way.
I've seen them use it in worse ways, right? So I would not be opposed to some kind of play set up around it.
Okay, that's reasonable. Cue the ominous music because time is running out for the Dragons. This is the last chance for them to take the point, and they start off by losing Ado, arguably one of their most important targets here, and so he is brought back amidst the Transcendence. The Mercy gets in there. Ultra makes sure they have the Shield Maiden on the roster. Self-destruct goes over the top now, but no one's affected by it. Note that Ado's shield was broken by that self-destruct. He can't shield bash right now. So he needs to get to safety or at least take a breather and return to the fight when it's safe to do so again. Sleepy, another Transcendence. That was very quick generation of Transcendence in that fight, man. He got that back awfully quick. Now it's Nevix on the point. Ado's trying to back up the Winston, but he's split away from him to a degree. He does have Rally active here. A lot of shield, a bit of extra health goes a long way for Fearless, who's just trying to weather the storm right now. Gregory's there as well, but it's not a lot of pure damage available to the Dragons, man. Looks like it's very, very hard to cut through the durable setup of the Shock. Transcendence here now, but they've lost Altering in Ado.
Yeah, and Sinatra picks Altering right out while he's using Valkyrie. That'll be a Transcendence there from Fearfield, but man, that is a huge pick from Sinatra. Now he's still on the point as Brigitte. Just making an impact there. Architect and Sinatra finishing off some players. That'll be San Francisco holding on point B, but that was a hell of a play from Sinatra, because I'm looking at the top on ultimates, right? The fight's going down, it's crazy, everybody's just being healed up. You know, everyone's staying alive, nothing really going down. And I see Shanghai getting both of those ultimates again. Valkyrie and Transcendence. And Altering had just switched to Mercy before that fight, so like he had no charge pretty much on it at all. As soon as he pops it, like the second he pops Valk, he gets picked off.
Well, here it is at the end here. Sinatra, obviously, a lot of Inspire procs, man. He's getting a lot of AoE healing, but he saw Altering there. He made sure he finished him with a whip shot.
See how fast he's able to take out the Mercy there.
Oh, yeah, she crumbles.
It's like with Valkyrie, you know, Altering's able to stay alive there, right? You know, Valkyrie, obviously you can fly. You could have gotten to the high ground. There's no Widowmaker. Could have healed everybody up. Maybe a few picks go your way. Like, that's how close the Dragons are. Not to winning a map, let's say, right? But taking point B, making this a longer map in theory.
However,
it's not the case.
However,
that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's my rebuttal, of course. Well, now with Shanghai failing to take the last point, for those at home that are keeping count, they got 89.1% of that last point, which means that the Shock obviously just need a little bit more. Peanuts in space, the sequel. I'm hungry now. Yeah.
You can hear the fans getting behind Shanghai as well.
As they always have.
Wait,
where's our peanut butter? Bruh! It's all an illusion. Yeah, look.
I get props. The people here at the Blizzard Arena committed to the Dragons.
Well, have you seen the crowd? We've seen the crowd, right? We get to sort of look over and hang out before the game. And oh yeah, it's a sea of red, black, and yellow. No doubt about it.
It's become like a home game every game here for the Dragons.
I mean, that's it. Every team that plays against the Dragons has to be an away team, regardless of what strip they're wearing, right? And it's even
outside of the LA team.
It's
the LA team, maybe a bit
worse
different.
for teams like Philly and Boston, whose fans are obviously more concentrated to the East Coast, who have to go up against Shanghai and then be doubly sort of, you know, doubled down on by the crowd who favors.
Hydration Man's a nice guy. He ain't cheering for the Dragons. So
no, he ain't cheering for the Dragons. That's true. He made the marionette of Soon. That was so funny during the last Battle of LA. Yeah, we got some great fans here. I'm a big fan of them. Myself.
A fan of the fans.
The Dragons actually set up with a Reinhardt here defensively, man, not Narissa. What are they doing?
It's odd. I mean, Orisa here is great, just a lot more shield up time. So now, I mean, the Reinhardt, right now, Fearless playing in a position where he could just get caught out pretty easily. Now, Gigery's going to have to help Fearless so much, right? Because his shield could break and whatnot, and they get behind them, just putting down damage on him, that the supports are going to be alone.
There it is. DA is down early, and the Shock now take the fight to the point. So the Dragons need to get a lot of value out of this Reinhardt, man. The problem is that it's so easy for Architect to circumvent the shield. He dashes into a Reinhardt who can't reach him, and then, as you know, everything changed the day the Weave Nation attacked.
At least when you have Orisa, you can use a halt to get some of those flankers off of you, slow you down, put some damage on them, fortify. When you're Reinhardt, it's like you got a fly swatter, right? That's all you can do is just try and get them off you.
You look like a goober. You get dizzy.
I know. I mean, look, if anyone plays any like the the really strong, like, you know, flank DPS heroes. Like, when you see a Reinhardt on the other team at home, you're excited, right? You're farming your ult on the Reinhardt. You're just kind of getting behind him, just pestering him with damage. This fight will go in favor of the Dragons. I don't know anymore, though.
Architect, don't you dare!
All right.
That's not a fight for you to win. You've literally lost your front line and you go for the blade. Perhaps he wants to switch.
Probably a change, yeah.
Even still. Yeah.
They get a tick.
They get a tick. That, to me, is
I don't know how they get a tick.
Well, essentially, like, the Shock lose the front line very early on because they literally drive them into the back corner of the point. So I think Shanghai desperately trying to peel for their back line because 2 tanks are on top, just vacate the point for long enough. Obviously, it's a lost fight for San Francisco. It's kind of suicidal, but they get a tick, so all right.
So this is the composition I was talking about on offense. For the San Francisco Shock. Sinatra's dead, they'll back out, they'll be in for site used by Dia.
Right, so I like this, kind of got everything, right?
Yeah, and this is where you'll see Sinatra and Super put pressure on Dia in the back. This will force altering and free feel into a different position, and then now, because they have the Reinhardt, what do? Do you just put your shield up and just let the damage come down? Do you take it down, then it allows Architect to pick you up?
Right.
So
Two heroes.
Let's see how they play around it.
2 heroes in Widowmaker and Tracer that make Reinhardt's feel utterly useless. And there's no Brigitte on the side of the Dragons to counter the Tracer.
So look at the position that Super has taken up on the point. Puts the bubble down here so Dia can't peek around the corner. He has Primal Rage as well. That's going to be a pulse bomb right on the Fearless.
This is what happens when you're a Reinhardt. Bomb stuck straight to him now. Double Transcendence being used, but Super's in the back corner trying to make sure that Ardo can't find a clear shot. And he can't because Architect's removed his eyes one by one. Now Gregory, hoping to get back in that mech. Architect doesn't quite find the shot, and they allowed that. Little bit of a misstep there, but she is desuited very quickly straight after. Altering, just working around the side of the point. Dia finds an important pick on Architect to swing the fight, but Super follows up and trades the kill. Fearless is down on the back line, Sinatra now trading out on the point as well. He'll look for Ardo here, but Nevix can open some space with the self-destruct, get them that second tick, just because he had the self-destruct, and the Dragons were too slow getting to the point. Remember, Shanghai only had 2 and a bit ticks there, and all Shock had to do was hang around a little longer. Nevix pretty much wins around with that self-destruct.
Yeah, they did a great job pushing Dia in free feel off of the point, basically back to their spawn. Those players can't come out and try and contest the point. It'll be the Shock up 2-0 at the half.
We'll see you after halftime. We'll get a bit of a talk on the desk, and yes, fighting for glory still, the Dragons. A chance to win this series is there, but they have to win it out from here.
Are you ready?
Today, you're in for a real treat.
There's no stopping them.
That is it.
There we go. What a wild match.
The Dragons are one map away from an 0-40 season, and the Shock will get the wins on both Blizzard World and Hanamura as they're up 2-0 here at the half. Welcome, everyone. You have Golden Boy alongside with Bren and Reinforce. And, you know, I mean, listen, we hyped it up. We had our fun. We talked.
Super Mega Ultra Bowl.
Yes, in fact, yes. This is the Super Mega Overwatch Bowl for all the marbles. Is the official name
for all the marbles.
Yes, that's right. Sob fan. It's for the just so you are aware. So this matchup has everything on the line here. What is on the line? Nothing.
The marbles.
We just want everyone to know that the marbles are on the line here.
Yes.
So that being said, let's take a look at this very pivotal first half highlights. You like that? It was good? Yeah, okay, over to you. Take it away.
You're the host for a reason.
Thank you.
Well, it started out... What? That was a compliment.
Okay,
it started out with the Shanghai Dragons running this triple tank, triple support composition. And I think it's the easiest one to get around with. And so I kind of really like this. And they look somewhat polished. I mean, they got to the end. They were close to getting 3-4 minutes in a time bank. And I mean, head into a really good second round. But instead, it was a great defense from the San Francisco Shock on point C. And from there, the dives from San Francisco just overwhelmed the Shanghai Dragons, really. And they just needed a minute and a half to secure the map.
I feel like every time I predict the Dragons, I rile up a certain member of the team. And in this case, I really riled up Architect because he played absolutely ridiculously well in this match, at least. Ado had an actual moment, really, to clutch it out here. I mean, he's just picking up accidental kills with the junk grab bombs across the map. But he did manage to get a 4K and almost defend this from them. But just in the final moments, again, it was Architect with the clutch moments, Architect with the clutch plays that really helped them out. And then we move over to Horizon. And this is a map where, again, Shanghai Dragons tried to run a similar composition where they run the triple tank, triple support, trying to run them down. It's an easy to execute strategy, but Shock were prepared. They were running that spam composition to really sort of shut them down. Yeah,
really. I mean, they're so well practiced this stage now, the San Francisco Shock, so it was hard for Shanghai Dragons to really keep up with the momentum as it is, because at this point, teams have sort of figured out the triple tank, triple support meta and what it means, really. And so it looked pretty easy for the San Francisco Shock, really just taking this map away from them.
I was struggling to see, honestly, real weaknesses in the Shock, despite the fact that they're not even running Choi Hobin. Like the Dragons, Johnny, what do you feel like they need to do to really sort of take this away now, like in the second half?
They honestly just need star performances, really. I think it's a bit of an unlucky matchup in a way, because really what the Shanghai Dragons shine with are these slow compositions with the Orisa, with the Junkrat, with the Widowmaker. And so the San Francisco Shock, they're really good at beating that specifically with the dive compositions.
Yo, what is this?
What is that?
Really good at
Golden Boy,
the Genji and Tracer.
You said you wanted to fight a bear, my guy. You said you wanted to fight a bear when it comes to the All-Stars match. I feel like the man right here, a little bluebird told me that some owl wanted to fight. He's ready. He's ready for you.
Okay.
He's ready for you. Do you accept this challenge?
I don't know.
He accepts this challenge.
What the hell?
He accepts the challenge. I got your mask here ready, Betty. He accepts. He accepts.
Crazy.
What's this? That's going to close out this half. Do not go anywhere. In fact, you'll be catching us at the All-Stars game.
Is this a luchador mask?
Yes, it is. We're going to train you up. We're going to get you ready and waiting. And we'll see you after the break.
You've heard the shoutcasters, but now it's time to let your voice be heard. T-Mobile is giving fans the power to help select the first Overwatch League MVP on Twitter by using hashtag OWLMVP in your player's battle tag.
Welcome to Access Granted, driven by Toyota. Today I'm picking up Otto from the Shanghai Dragons. What's the funniest thing that's happened on stage during one of your guys' matches?
저희가 네팔이라는 전장을 할 때 파이브킹이 갑자기 들어와서 한국 노래를 불러가지고 그때가 제일 재밌었어요.
What song is it? Can you sing it for me?
아니요, 절대요.
Welcome back, everybody. That was Access Granted, driven by Toyota. If you want to see new episodes of that, just hop on over to overwatchleague.com on Monday for full episodes. Anyways, the San Francisco Shock currently hold a 2-0 lead over the Shanghai Dragons. The Dragons still got one more half to make this thing happen, but the Shock, they look strong as ever. But let me pivot for a little bit because I kind of want to call Golden Boy out on camera for this right now in front of the audience, in front of all you guys. You know, it's the last day. We might as well do this. How many people in here want to see Golden Boy fight the bear? I think we're going to make that happen on the All-Star game. So make sure you tune in for that. Golden Boy is going to fight a bear. He's going to do it, all right? Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the second half of this game and send it back to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
I'm just saying, Puckett would fight the bear. You know he'd fight the bear.
You've done it.
Well, Puckett would do probably a lot of things I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, I love how Fred had the mask ready for Golden Boy and everything. Like,
yeah,
not like how it works, bro.
Just had it in his pocket.
You watch WWE, like, you gotta build it up for a while, right? You schedule it for a big pay-per-view. Arcade All-Star game, right? Yeah.
You gotta, press events. You gotta sell tickets.
We don't know anything about this bear yet.
Nah, I mean,
we know he's a bear.
What's the bear's measurements? What's his weight? Like, are they even in the same weight class? I doubt it somehow. Anyway, we've got some substitutions here. Damien comes in for Dia.
I feel like I've been saying for weeks now, I would love to see this happen for this lineup, because now, look, they've talked about how communication can be an issue for the Shanghai Dragons lineup. Now, they have now 4 Korean speakers in. Maybe they can communicate a little bit better with each other. Choyomin will come in here, and Baby Bay for the San Francisco Shock. So I like the substitutions for the Shanghai Dragons. Let's see how it works out. I don't know if we've seen this composition from them in terms of people in the lineup.
What does it mean?
That often. I think it's, try something out. I feel like Damon's been good when he's been in. I know he can play a lot of the same heroes that Dia can play. And I think Otto is like their superstar of this team, right? I feel like he can't really
I think it's pretty clear to see that he's emerged as their absolute 5-star player. I don't give 5 stars easily, ask Hex. Lijiang Tower, going to be our next map of the series. And yes, if the Dragons want any chance of winning this series, they must win this map. They must win Lijiang Tower. And honestly, if they're going to look good in the rest of the series, they have to do it decisively. We have, some freshness now, Matt, some changes in lineup, so we'll see if that affects the Dragons. But again, look, this is their 20th game of the Overwatch League, Matt. They say in life, you either win or you learn, and the Dragons have learned a heck of a lot.
the Shock moving around the outside here with Baby Bay playing McCree and Architect on Widow. Be a triple tank lineup again here for the Dragons. So triple tank, triple support. See how the Shock attack this. Do you have enough damage with the McCree and Zen to just kind of poke away here?
Shanghai. Shock are asking if Shanghai can come out and play. They oblige eventually, but Baby Bay's already flanked in. A flash fan, the hammer to remove free field from the equation already.
You cannot let a McCree come around you, flashbang, fan the hammer, and then roll away
Sleepy.
and live.
Oh my lord, Sleepy, that's so gross.
This is the first time the Dragons have fielded this lineup.
Okay, Andre, behave! No, really, do it more, do it more.
The last game for the Shock as well.
Oh, he's feeling it. The boys out there getting the juice. Here's Sleepy, I mean, oh man, that's beautiful. Yeah. Bit of clean-up crew action there as well, but pretty sharp. I don't think the crowd liked that, man.
No, they didn't.
It's a shame.
See how the Dragons come back and attack this again. They have a Coalescence. They've been using the Coalescence to engage, not as much keep players alive towards the end as always have to be careful here. Architect lurking, this will be a Deadeye.
Oh, okay, I get the idea there, Super, just to try and make sure that at least someone would be knocked out and subject to the Deadeye. But yo, your boys just gonna get the merry-go-round again. Ardo not able to prevent the flash.
They pick it up this time.
Yeah, well spotted. I mean, they do see Baby Bay obviously clearly coming around to their right-hand side, but they respond accordingly, which is good. Ardo, Baby Bay's trying to find a way through all these damn shields, but he does find Ardo. Wants to flank again, free field, he just walks straight into that one. The crosshair aims straight between his eyes. And Baby Bay is not being pressured. That is a big problem. If you allow a McCree to do what he wants or to have any space whatsoever, he's going to tear you to shreds.
It's just when he gets in close proximity, like McCree's downfall is that he doesn't have mobility to get away. You cannot let Baby Bay get away and then get back to the healing resources on this lineup. I mean, just putting down too much damage to let it
This is not a comp that can really keep him honest, man. Free field fades away from him. Ardo could shield bash, and that's what he tried to do before. But outside of that, Baby Bay gets carte blanche here out on the point to just fire away with the Peacemaker. Earthshatter gets both tanks there. He was inside the bubble, so Super trying to protect himself from that Earthshatter doesn't quite work out. Deadeye now, and you can see now the Dragons are approaching towards Baby Bay. It's going to be a Graviton Surge, and the Self-Destruct thrown in, and the kitchen sink, why don't you? The Dragons use everything they have, but they win the fight at 86% to 7.
Yeah, they're going to come back into the next fight, though. The Shock with Valkyrie and Transcendency. You got nothing to work with, just the Coalescence for the Shanghai Dragons. I like the idea of Baby Bay using the Deadeye when the two players get Earthshattered, because that forces Fearless to put his shield up, right? He can't provide any damage down for those two players on the ground.
It also forced the sound barrier immediately from altering to make it longer, obviously, for Baby Bay to get those happy red skulls.
Architect plays far now. You have zero answer for this.
Oh, this is Blizzard World all over again. However, Architect has to get a little closer. He has to take the point. It's always riskier playing an attacking Pharaoh than a defending one on this map, I feel. You don't have the liberty of just flanking and just being harassment in the backline. You actually need to eventually get on the point, which requires you to fly quite low to the ground. Dragons are giving up the point, and they're backing off at least. They're trying to get around there. Reinhardt. Oh, I see.
This is going to get broken up here. Oh, the Coalescence comes through. Baby Bay with a flank, and he takes out Free Field. So you lose that one big support ultimate you had. Here's the rest of the damage.
Stone Cold Killer! And he drops the tombstone as well. Dude, he was dead to rights there. If he got lasered down by Damien, but he just pulled the trigger at the right time with that Deadeye.
Look, Baby Bay has come in, and he's played very good for the Shock here in Stage 4. I think it was a big surprise to a lot of us that he was back in the lineup. A lot of people didn't expect him.
Right. I thought Architect was the belt rolling for Baby Bay's sort of starting status on this team. Ardo able to avoid getting knocked off. He'd already used the shield bash, so he would have been in deep trouble there if he'd actually been knocked properly into the pit. Gregory. Again, can't do too much here. Barrage comes in, but Architect doesn't have a great angle at all. He does split, though. He splits the backline away. The Dragons now have got 2 players on and 2 players off the point, and now all those numbers are being reduced to 0 as Architect just steps back. It's 99 to 62% here, and Baby Bay finds another head. Now he's looking for the Lucio here. Altering doesn't last too long. Trying to go roller disco inside the point. Really doesn't work out for him well at all. Deadeye now to finish the job. And Ardo won't get there at all. The Shock start off 100 to 62%. Convincing, I feel, and the McCree, Matt. 7 final blows for Baby Bay, 51% weapon accuracy. Very solid. Only 1 death for a McCree. What year is it?
And he's playing so aggressive, too. You kind of think that 67%, it's really just one fight for Shanghai. So everything else really dominated there by the San Francisco Shock. Let's see what Shanghai decides to do here. They can't run this composition again, Mitch. You have to expect that the Shock know what's coming. They're going to play the Pharah yet again.
I haven't seen Baby. Have we seen Baby? Oh, he has played a bit of McCree recently, actually. I lied. When Architect's not in the roster. But now with the Pharah, Widow make a combination. Both those players are actually very good, Pharah and Widows respectively. But Architect is just kind of another level of sharpness with those rockets connecting. The Dragons do go for that comp they had earlier on there.
And they're going to play the point, which is going to allow Architect to just sit up above and just rain down all this damage. And eventually, you're just going to chip some of these players down. All the tanks on the Shock have to do is just contest the point for a while. Don't let it all go over to Shanghai.
Oh,
look at this. He's going to be able to just sit back here and just... nobody can even get back towards him. Like, Geguri is the only one who has an option, right? But
if she tries to chase Architect, the rest of the Shock probably try and collapse the point.
If she chases Architect, then Architect just fires rockets past her in just on the supports because there's no defense matrix. Right?
Oh my giddy arm, this is starting a little bit out of hand now. A lot of free damage for Architect. You can see the barrage is already ready to go. So I like the response here. I love what Shanghai just did. They go aggressive. They jump onto the core of the Shock, realizing that a Mercy and a Pharah aren't at home. So they get a player advantage and they pressure that down. I mean, they stood on the point way too long and took a lot of free damage, but eventually they get into gear, Matt. And do you like to see him take initiative in cases like this?
How do they defend this rocket barrage stuff? Really just look at Geguri and her mech, but you know, if she gets demech'd, right, or if she gets pulled off and into an area.
But I think Architect's probably waiting on that to a degree, right? But now Altering's been taken down early. Yeah, see, Geguri has been making sure that she's responsible for dealing with Architect to make sure he doesn't get a free barrage like this one. Okay, Cone of Silence is eventually put over his head, and he doesn't get any kills, but it does open the door for the rest of the San Francisco Shock to make their way in. A big Earth Shatter from Fearless, though, opens the fight up, allows the Dragons to be the only ones on their feet. I gotta say, that's exactly what you want from Geguri.
Yeah,
perfect response.
And they go to use the Transcendence to try and get a res on the point. Malt actually gets hit with that Earth Shatter, knocked down, not able to get anything.
I'm super happy with that from Shanghai. Everything about that fight was really good. Damien Oars as well, not only very tanky after the rally from Ado, but has a Graviton, has a lot of charge. Lets that one go now. It wasn't quite eaten. You know, you saw Chokeman was hoping to eat that one up. He doesn't get it. Geguri gets the one kill with the self-destruct. That's two ultimates committed for one kill.
Yeah.
Not the most efficient use, but it'll keep the Dragons in the saddle for the time being.
Yeah, but you could have used that self-destruct to stall or
now the another way. Nothing. It was raised up.
No, I mean, they get absolutely nothing. Oh, Fearless actually tries to charge back to the point, and he actually hits the wall there, so doesn't make it back to his team.
Yeah, slight mechanical error there. You can see Damien tried to keep him alive by giving the Zarya barrier, but he just couldn't quite get back. He was too far away from the rest of his team, and this is bad for the Dragons. They've achieved that overtime. They're going to pull out. They're going to back away, and they're going to save those key ultimates now. Sound barrier.
Okay, so if you're Shanghai, you have to know the other team is full of ultimates. You're at 99%, that's great. The next two fights, you don't want to spend all your ultimates, right? You want to hold on to whether it be Coalescence or Sound Barrier. You want to have some advantage here.
The fact that San Francisco's got that point was only because I think Fearless got out of position. He made a critical misstep, and San Francisco feels so good not having to use any ultimates to capture the point in overtime. That's almost unheard of. So now they try and ration through these ultimates. And, you know, as they use them, they try and regenerate them for the next fight. You know, Transcendence in one fight, Valkyrie in the other perhaps, a barrage when it's needed. It's quite daunting to push into this kind of ultimate economy.
They're trying to go in these closed areas, but that's just allowing all this extra damage to come through. Oh, it could be the barrage.
She's got that Vulcan hearing. She's waiting for Architect to appear. Great response from her once again. Now it's going to be the ultimates coming out of the San Francisco Shock. Architect's brought back to life. He has the barrage. Bear that in mind. Oh, but Altering the double boot. Off the map. And now probably silences the Shock in this fight. Ultimate or not, Architect tries to go for a barrage. He gets nothing for it. So San Francisco, 5 ultimates to begin the fight, 0 to end or 1. But now they're staggered out. They can't even get to the point. Graviton Surge used. And the Dragons, on the rear of their heads, they're here to play and they're hanging on.
Stay alive. It's a good grab there towards the end. We can take a look at Altering's double boot. It's had to be a pretty sick play there, playing the Lucio here towards the end of the game.
I mean, how important is this against a team with 4 ultimates? Love to see it. See you, lads. Go hit the showers.
Okay, so if you're the Shock, what do? You decide to play exactly what you played at the beginning there? Do you think the Pharah Junkrat was the way to go about it? Do you bring back the McCree from the earlier stages? Looks like they're going to go for a little bit of a hybrid. So you bring back McCree in for Junkrat. This time, though, instead of playing Winston Diva, you're going to play the Reinhardt with the Zarya. So
yeah, this is something we saw emerge actually stage 2 even. Back when Zarya Ryan compositions returned to vogue for a time, and then Dive became really powerful again. As McCree, though, you are a little bit more constrained on this particular map. There are a lot more of those close quarters areas, but that's enough for Super to get a double kill with a Fire Strike.
The Architect goes on the outside, and he's putting down a ton of damage in that close quarter area with the rockets, and then the Fire Strike comes through.
I feel like
from Super.
If Architect can demand enough attention or force Gregory to be his minder for the round, then maybe they can do a lot. No defense mages to shut him down. Oh, that's just textbook, quintessential Reinhardt play. Everyone needs that in their repertoire, no doubt about it. Hit that E key, fam. And Babyface playing very aggressively for a McCree here. This is definitely an attitude thing.
I would say this is a very aggressive McCree play as he is standing openly in the choke.
Yeah, he's really trying to get in their heads. I don't really know if that translates across that well. The Dragons, definitely with that grim determination, they're dialed in here, so maybe they don't really care. Architect, again, in a flanking position. So they know he's out here. He doesn't have a really safe way to get in, though, and actually get this damage down. His flash is actually blocked away, but he's able to retreat. He gets healed. I believe that was a very, very quick heal coming from Mop. Keep him alive. And the Dragons just have to wait. And they don't know exactly when he cancels the Deadeye. Like, if they can't see him, they can't tell. So they have to wait out the full, what, 6 seconds it is? Here's the coalescence from Freefield.
Have to do a good job of just making sure they don't get this. Okay, so Architect hold on to Barrage. I like that. He was a solo player inside of the grab. You knew the fight was already won. Hold on to this Barrage. They're not doing anything to counter this outside of keep putting Gregory in your face. Hold on this Barrage. You get a good Barrage, you can end the game.
Oh, Sleepy chased that one up beautifully. Choi Coben with a beautiful little cleanup at the end of the fight. Yeah, I mean, it was only a one-man Graviton. I think Architect astutely identifies it's not worth investing a Barrage. And Earthshatter here, well, Super will be very happy to bring that one to bear in the next fight if it was to be called for. Couple steps back, you see he's jockeying with the shield here, trying to keep his team. Oh, he doesn't want to be here at all. He wants to be on the other side of this wall. He's trying to get across. Shield comes down. No one's affected by that Earthshatter. It was eventually blocked it by Super. But now the Graviton comes in. A lot of ultimates are being used here by the Dragons. The follow-up, not quite there, but they get Sleepy. Architect, though, in the meantime, finds Damon and Ardo. And there's the Earthshatter. This might be it. The bell tolling for the Shanghai Dragons. This map is going to go the way of the Shock, and Shanghai will be handed their final win of the season. Final loss, should I say? It'll be 3-0 for the Shock. We will have another map, but Shanghai will come out of the Overwatch League map without winning a series.
Yeah, it's a tough go for Shanghai here in Season 1. The Shock looked good today. We'll see if they can secure the 4-0 victory to end their Season 1 right after this break.
Don't miss the first ever Overwatch League playoffs live in Los Angeles at Blizzard Arena. Tickets are on sale now at access.com. anticipation has been building, and it is finally time.
I'm not going to miss these games. They're incredible.
This is hype. This is what we've been waiting for. All going to come down to this.
All the marbles on the line here. They are the best team we have in Overwatch League. This is going to be so fun to watch.
Welcome back to Blizzard Arena. My name is Zoe, and at halftime I had a very quick chat with the coaching staff from the San Francisco Shock about basically the mentality going into this match today. And their coach Krusty actually told me that it must be one of the hardest ones they have been facing at this stage because, and this is gonna sound mean, I'm still gonna say it, no one wants to be the team who lost against the Shanghai Dragons. That's not how they wanted to, and I'm sorry, that's what they said. I'm just quoting people. They told me that that's just not really how they want to end this stage, and that's why they actually prepared extra hard against the Shanghai Dragons. But that's not the only reason. Because it's their last game on this stage also, they wanted to make sure to bring in some players we haven't seen that much. So you know what? IDDQD will be playing on map number 4. There we go, and without any further ado, let's just get this started.
Thank you very much, sorry. And I am tickled pink by that person.
Yeah.
Andre, one of my oldest friends in
Overwatch.
The first European LAN, he was there. He was playing with the likes of Tvik and Reinforce, of course, and they were all at that particular event. We'll get on to that one. There are substitutions on both sides, of course. And if you just joined us, yes, it is 3-0 in the series. So this will not be a season in which Shanghai will be taking over a win, but I'm pretty sure they've won plenty of hearts in the meantime, Matty.
It'll be Dia who comes in for the Shanghai Dragons. He'll come in for Otto. So you leave Damon in the game here, so Damon can get some going, our final map. But that'll be the last we see from Otto this season. Definitely, I think, you'll see him next year. I know Otto, a very strong player. Dia will come in here to play the Widowmaker probably. And like Zoe mentioned, you have Architect coming out, IDDQD coming in. Look, he had a really strong preseason. Obviously, a very long time ago, right?
Oh, bro. Look at him. Look at like he doesn't know he's on camera. Okay, Andre. I mean, this guy was shot in our promo videos for the Overwatch. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's like he forges an axe
or something.
And then he lights the axe on fire and throws it at like a burning pyre or something. So epic. And everyone's like, oh, like we don't see him all season. Now, obviously the Shock had a pretty solid setup. We're going to go to Dorado. I've got a story about Andre, which is I think is really interesting. Because it involves me, of course. But back in the day, he asked me to sign a shirt and send it to him. Like I had an Overwatch jacket. He's like, bro, oh man, if I had something of yours, and I said, I'm not signing it, Andre, because literally in 2 months you're going to be far more important than I am. And I was right, of course. Yeah. And I still give him crap about that now. I still say, remember when you wanted my signed jersey, you idiot? Now look at him.
He had to be desperate to want some sign of you.
Bro, I'm just saying, maybe
take a signed Reinforced jersey. That right?
Oh yes, see, yes. That's why I like it. Okay, we had
something about competition. Something about competition brings out arguably the worst or the best in me, depending on which way you look at it.
Let us now come together, of course, the final map for both these two teams in Season 1 of the Overwatch League. We won't see either of these guys in the playoffs, neither stage nor season.
Bastion free feel.
I would have,
do it.
It is going to be the free feel Bastion. IDDQD on the Widowmaker, obviously primarily a hit scan player, was known for his McCree back in the day. Very good tracer. You actually had some of the best tracer stats in the preseason, Matt. And of course, we know he's quite versatile. We've seen him play Reaper.
The Bastion's off the payload. You want free field to get set up on this payload, but it's moving so fast you can't really see Bastion just kind of chugging up next to it. Yep, can't shoot through the payload. Got to get on top of it here.
I spoke to Andre, said he was a bit nervous about this game as well.
Oh, yeah.
He said, it's been so long since I played on stage, which is actually true, of course. It's been ages. He was on Fnatic a long time and then like sort of on the Fnatic bench for ages.
And I really liked Zoe's hit there on the floor because she kind of talked about how the Shock prepared even harder for Shanghai. And I feel like a lot of teams have done that through the later portion of the year, because as much as we say there's a lot of pressure on Shanghai to win these games, there's also a lot of pressure on the other teams to not lose to Shanghai.
It's also respect for Shanghai, because these teams scrim them all the time, right? They see what Shanghai is able to do.
Yeah,
exactly. So that should tell you a lot, I guess, of what the Dragons, you know, at least the fear that they've been able to generate behind the scenes. So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, everybody we speak to says the Dragons look like a different team in scrims, albeit no scrims. Yeah,
well,
don't know.
The only question we can ask is what they look like in Season 2.
Right.
I feel like quite a few of these players will be coming back for the Dragons.
Yeah.
We've also heard, I think, as well, positive things about them. So I don't think they're going to get turfed by any stretch of the imagination. So fear not.
And look, maybe it's kind of hard with these like long seasons. You see the inputs I use here from IDQD. To just once it starts to spiral the wrong way, to bring it back the other way is really hard.
Immense mental fortitude to do that.
Like, you look at the Dallas Fuel, right? I mean, they're the only ones who've really kind of turned it around out of those teams that have been at the bottom from really like the beginning. Like, it's really difficult. Like, you just you kind of go through like just a lot of emotions, right? Just playing all the time, you know, not going your way and scrimming, being far from home. It's tough. You got to give them a lot of props for hanging in there.
Free Fuel now down to the self-destruct from Choihoven. I've got to say, IDQD playing very passive. He's playing very passive on this Widowmaker so far, very safe.
Did you expect him to play any different?
Well, here's the funny thing, right? I used to ask him about his McCree, and he used to think that, like, he used to say, like, oh, I'm quite an aggressive McCree. And he used to be. He used to roll forward all the time. But I did feel, as time went on, that he became a more passive McCree player, which is, by the way, how you survive as McCree. But, like, honestly, I've been watching his peaks and his angles so far in this round. They've not been too risky. He's not really been challenging Dia head-to-head. Neither of them. Neither of the Widows have any final blows.
He's a very smart player as well.
Yeah,
has a really high game sense, very calculated. This will be a Dragon Strike from Damon. Doesn't really get anything.
Oh, Baby Bay knows. Dia, you're in trouble, son! Oh man, chased out. Baby Bay goes down to Damien though as a result. I mean, he was stood stationary, kind of out in the open, so you are inviting that particular demise.
And IDQD does a bunch of really nice like educational streams. I really play comp, and he'll just kind of tell you like through decision making, like where I think it's pretty cool.
Twitch.tv/IDQD,
yeah. So Damon now will switch to Pharah, so you're gonna play the Pharah here. The Pharah Tracer into Widow Junkrat.
Well, here's where IDQD definitely needs to
show up.
Control.
Yeah.
If Damon gets himself into the cookie jar, and by that I mean the back line, of course, it will be pretty dangerous for the Shock. They also have Dia on the Tracer now, so no Widow head-to-head. See, IDQD has it in for sight. He's going to pop that one now. Sleepy's lucky to be alive as it is. He took a lot of damage before Fearless even hit the ground. Time is ticking down. 3 seconds left for the Dragon. They've got to make something happen. There it is. IDQD's first kill of the Overwatch League. He manages to find that Gegari. She gets desuited. Now Moth to heal him up. Dealing with a Tracer is never going to be fun, but there's no one on the payload. Dia has to go back. Oh, he's looking tired. It's been a long season for the Shanghai Dragons. It looks like they'll leave it there. The Dragons will not advance any further than that first choke. Definitely a fairly quiet round from them.
It's a fairly quiet round overall.
Damon and Freefield, yeah, and this is why we're having a discussion most of the time. Yeah. Damon and Freefield did chalk up final blows. Baby Bay chalked up 8 on the Junkrat for 28% of his team's damage.
You only see 24 kills combined in the 4 minutes there. So not a ton of action, very slow first half. But you kind of expect that when the payload doesn't move right, and you're kind of stalled at the beginning, and you stay with the Bastion for a few spawns here. So we'll see what the Dragons decide to do on defense. IDQD's one go here in the regular season may be pretty short, right? You know, this map not very far for the San Francisco Shock to push the payload, not even to the statue here as we go through the underpass.
Yeah, really got cut short by the Orisa Junkrat. Dwell on it so much, I don't think, as we went around the grounds quite a lot. They started off with that Bastion composition. The problem is it is flimsy. Look, it's a Hail Mary, because if you get a Bastion, if you can stick on the payload and you can win the first fight, then you know, through each stage, there's always that one fight that's quite risky for the Bastion. And then if you can hang around...
They never really got the Bastion even set up, though. Like, they were kind of jumping to the side.
I believe he was knocked off the payload. Or the problem is that if you're playing Bastion, you don't want your team to get on the payload until you're on there, because it moves away from you, right? You're not obviously very fast.
Yeah.
You don't have any mobility abilities that let you actually catch up to the payload. So if you've got 3 people on the payload and you're trying to get on it, you can't. It's super... I mean, I had a ranked game when I was... admittedly, a little bit toxic, but it was us casters, right? So who cares? I was screaming at them, get off the payload. No one understood why. It was because they freaking left me behind, and I'm trying to get on the payload. I'm Bastion. I'm like, do you guys want me to do this or not? Obviously, it wasn't my idea. It was Josh's, because it always is. Anyway, so Bastion on payload first.
The first arrow was listening to Josh.
I humor him, man.
The Dragons have to play very close here. That's why you're seeing this defensive setup with the Bastion very close. But you see Super just going to use the payload to just kind of walk it on through, right? You're going to have Baby Base be able to go on the flanks. As IDDQD gets a pick there onto Dia to kick things off.
They're quite sharp. I think that was actually almost like a vertical hit for him, which is a bit of a, it's a tough viewing angle as a Widowmaker on the low ground. I mean, look, if you play particular BR games, you know it's good to be on the high ground. Same in Overwatch. Oh, Fearless.
Oh, big headshot
there, yeah. And look, and that really puts Shanghai under a lot of pressure now because they have to burst heal him up. They only have Mercy, really, that's about as fast as your healing's going to get. There's no Ana or anything like that. All right, bit of flanky. I see you there. Headshot on Dia. IDDQD opens up the account there, wrapping around the backside. He's found another one. Ultrix missing, making 3 for IDDQD. Oh, he'll take 4. The Widowmaker coming to life, and that'll do it. The San Francisco Shock will sweep the series 4-0. And for the Dragons, Matt, it has been a long season, a tough season, many lessons to be learned. They will be back next year, and I'm quite sure this experience will be valuable for them. And you know what? Even more importantly, Matt, they walk out of this place with dignity. Because they get up on this stage every single week, and they do their very best, but it was not enough against the Shock.
Yeah, I mean, look, they should walk out of here with a lot of pride, right? They won't walk away with a win, but they do come in, they put in the work, just not resulting in any wins here in Season 1. Probably a large shock to them as well. The San Francisco Shock take this series to complete it 4-0.
That being said, you know, many of the Dragons fans will be expecting more from this break. You know, time for them to set up. Obviously, expect to see some of these players as well in the All-Star tournament down the road. I know Gigery in particular has got a lot of votes for her, of course. She'd be an asset to the team that she ends up getting placed in. But it is San Francisco now to end the stage 5-5, and obviously the Dragons, unfortunately, not getting the win in the season at all. The Shock, though, can be happy. A little bit disappointed they didn't make the stage playoffs, Matt, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, ladies and gentlemen. 4-0 is the final score. Shock to take it. And we'll see you tomorrow. Some playoff action, me and Matt. But for now, we're going to go to the desk to break it down.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone, to the desk here for the post-game as the San Francisco Shock will win 4-0, and that means that the Shanghai Dragons are 0-40 in the season. Very unfortunate for the Dragons. I mean, there were some opportunities for them throughout the season to get the wins, but I'm sure that they're going to be looking at the drawing board moving forward into the next season. For now, though, San Francisco, you know, throwing out some new things, you know, having some fun, it seems like, in the last game. Some new players. Well, let's take a look at the highlights here for Li Zhang and Dorado. Jump right into that one, gentlemen.
I mean, really, they don't, San Francisco, they don't really have to do a lot of drawing going into Season 2 because they're looking really good so far this stage. They didn't make the stage playoffs, but overall, we've been impressed by the San Francisco Shock, how they developed throughout the season with these new additions of Super, of course, Malt Architects, who came in sort of in the middle of the season. They've looked a lot better since. Obviously, Krusty, the coaching staff, has made things a lot easier, cleaned up the dive. And so for Season 2, this San Francisco squad is looking really fierce, actually.
Yes, they have a lot of structure now, which they didn't have before earlier in the seasons. Like, we always kind of scoffed at a lot of their play, but now, you know, if this team was available, ready and waiting, you know, obviously at the start of the season, a lot of their players were unavailable because they weren't yet 18. They didn't have their full roster ready and waiting. It's unfortunately a little bit late for them, but Season 2, I definitely think looking forward, this is a team that has potential to be incredibly scary and one that you can't really, again, underestimate like you did in the past.
Yeah, and even Baby Bay has become a bit of a tool for this team early on in this stage. We felt like Baby Bay didn't get a lot of playtime at all. Last time you were here, Golden Boy, you were actually really excited because Baby Bay was back on stage. And with his shot-calling capabilities, his really aggressive play, he's also found a starting slot in this roster. So it's not really a six-man team anymore. It's also, you know, you bring in new additions, get some flavor to your team.
Well, it's clear Krusty's using all the tools in the toolbox, right? Like, he knows that there is value there with players like Baby Bay to be able to take advantage of what he presents for this team. And I think that just kind of speaks to how the San Francisco squad has just evolved over the season. As in Shanghai, let's not, you know, beat around the bush here. Shanghai certainly did evolve throughout the season. I mean, this team looked very different in stage one versus
almost
today.
every team did.
It's very true.
Almost every team has made radical changes as it's gone on into the season. So it's nice to see as well, like the way the different teams have gone, the paths they've taken. And now we're starting to see, like Valiant, they completely upended their roster, and now they're like one of the top
Kareem on
stage
DPS.
4. Yeah, exactly. Like they've made so many radical changes across the board. A lot of the teams have.
Yeah, it's a long season, which means that there's just a lot of room to grow. But we got to award our player of the match, sponsored by Omen, by HP, and it is going to be Architect. That's right, Architect, the DPS for the San Francisco Shock, taking that top crown, and he had quite the game. Well, why did you guys decide, though, to award Architect with that?
Because really, he is the clutch player of this team. Not even clutch, just consistent clutch. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I guess so, mate. You know,
he just performed all the time.
Brendan doesn't know anything about
I really don't, Golden Boy, but we won't go into that one too deep. But I just like the fact that he was the one piece that they were really missing to get the ball rolling and get some
that's
under
true.
their belts. Like, they'd always lacked a consistent Genji player. Dante and Baby tried to take the mantle. Architect, though, he brings the pain whenever he's on that hero, and he always he has a masterclass performance when he is on that. But he can also bring the Widowmaker, which we're seeing a lot more of as well. Like, he's got a great set of heroes in his arsenal. So I'm a big fan of him as a player to match. He popped off during a series as well. So
yeah, well, that is going to do it. And that means San Francisco are the winners of the Super Mega Overwatch Bowl for all the marbles. Man, what a game that was. But coming up next, our last match of the evening, it's going to be the Florida Mayhem going up against the Boston Uprising. We'll see you on the other side after this.